folks, Chris from Slide Rule Racing here, and today's project is repairing a Cobalt bolster seat. This is going to be a quick video and maybe not up to my normal production standards, if I can call them that. But I wanted to get a video out there that shows how the Slide Rule Racing Cobalt bolster seat repair kit works and how easy it is to fix your broken bolster seats. There's a lot of clutter in the rest of my workshop here today, so we'll have to do our best to just disregard that. And there's also a cricket somewhere in my garage who has decided he wanted to be part of this video, so you may hear him in the background. So get right into it. From about 2005, as best I can tell, to today, Cobalt has been making a bolster seat. The key, I guess, features that point out this particular model or shape is this the handle on the back along with the map pocket, and that's important because when Cobalt switched to this one, and like I said, around 2005, they made it a little bit wider and just a touch deeper. And when they did that, they made the leverage of the bolster enough larger that if you sit on the very edge, or if you happen to be maybe a heavier boater, you have a distinct possibility of fracturing the plastic roto-molded seat pan that this attaches to. I was fortunate enough to purchase this broken seat so that I could put this video together and show everybody how the kit works. So we're going to repair this and show how the kit assembles in and how easy it is for you to fix your broken seat all by yourself. And this particular seat is exceptionally broken. I have it just resting on a little shop seat right now, but this one is so broken that the plastic that the seat bolster attaches to, I'm trying to get this out of the way, it broke so much, let's see if we can get down in there, that the plastic levered up and actually pushed the screws right out of the seat pad itself that sits here. So that one just popped right out. We didn't even need to unscrew that. So we're going to get into the meat of how you would do this, assuming that pad was still screwed in and you needed to take that off to start the repair. So I'm going to flip the seat over, and show you what you can expect on the underside of the seat when you get started on preparing to install the kit. Okay, here's the seat flipped over, and what you can see here is that the hardware on the underside is missing. Normally there would be a bracket here, and into that bracket you would have the screw holes that allow you to fasten the seat bracket, like this one. This is the Gorelick seat post that the Cobalts use. I haven't had a chance yet to fabricate the metal brackets that this attaches to, so we're just going to assume that it's there, and I'm going to tell you what bolts you need to take out. But to take the seat off of the post that's in the boat, you just merely need to loosen up this one right here, and you need to make sure that this is flipped up, okay? And then you should be able to just lift the seat right out of the boat. You can flip it over and you can do this repair right in the boat if you want to. Then there's going to be 4 bolts that fasten this bracket to those other, or rather this seat post assembly, the adjustment assembly, to the seat. You take those bolts out and you'll remove this guy out of the way. Now once that's out of the way, you can take off the screws here and here that are holding that seat pad into position. So we'll just take those out. Even though we know that they're not attached to the seat pad. Okay, now once those screws are out, you can go and remove the seat pad on the other side. So if we flip that up and we could take that seat pad out, then we could get started installing the kit. Okay, so the kit itself is a few different parts. There's the main plate. This is the plate that's going to replace the broken plastic as far as functionality is concerned in the seat pan. And then there are the plugs that allow this plate to be fastened to the seat pan without damaging it any further. The seat pan is relatively thin plastic, which is why it fractures to begin with. These plugs will use the larger sort of geometry and framework of that plastic seat pan without trying to fasten into it directly. These guys have to be narrow because that seat bracket, the adjustment bracket, sits on top of these once they're installed. So we want them to be thin. So to hold these when we put the screws in, there are these little tabs. This is actually the same hole spacing that you would get for your fuel cap. So if you have a fuel cap tool on your boat, you can use that on these. I also include a little 3D printed tool as well. So we're going to, and the construction of these, so this is ultra high molecular weight polyethylene. It will fit really well with the seat pan plastic, and then the metal in this is all stainless steel. So stainless steel of the plugs with the stainless steel of the screws means there won't be any galvanic action or corrosion between the two. So if you needed to take this apart later down the road, you would have no trouble with that at all. Okay, so the way this works is the plate itself goes on top of the seat pan where the cushions are, and then these plugs go from underneath into those holes that are part of the seat pan. Okay, and then let's see if we can do this with one hand. And then our countersink flathead stainless screws will go through these holes, thread into the plugs, and you tighten them up in that fashion. So we'll get started on that part now. So before we can install the pan, we flip the seat back over, we need to take off the bolster. And so we're going to take off the 8 screws that hold the bolster to the seat pan today. And you're going to want to save these screws because you're going to reuse them to attach to the new plate. All right, so the bolster's out now, and now there's this one. As I said earlier, this seat is particularly broken in so much as the plastic seat pan is fractured in several locations, and the plastic in a couple of locations, and you can't see it super well on the camera, has actually lifted up. So what I would suggest in something like this is trying to get a mallet to tap that down a little bit. You want, if you can, you want to get the plastic fractures to fit back into place like as if they were before they were broken. That will let the aluminum repair plate sit more flush into the seat when we put it back together. All right, so now it's time for us to install the repair plate onto the seat. I've made this one that was sticking up flush. Some of these other ones are now sub-flush. They stick down a little. That's okay. That will still allow this repair plate to sit flat on top of the seat pan. This may be helpful to have 2 people in this case. I have it sitting on a stool and hanging forward so that this forward hole is all the way through and I can reach down underneath with the repair plug. So we're going to put the seat repair pan in place. We're going to line it up over that hole. The threaded holes for the bolster attachment need to be obviously in the front, and the countersinks on the repair plate should be facing up. So we'll get that roughly in place. We're going to put our plug in from underneath, and then we're going to use our countersunk hole to start to tighten this up once we get it aligned here. And then this is where you would use the fuel key or the little tool that's included to let you hold on to the plug, if I can find that, and then we'll tighten it up with the screwdriver. Okay, So that one's done. Now we'll do the other side. And it actually may have been better for me to keep this slightly loose so that we can get the other one started. And now the next step is we get to reattach the bolster to the repair plate. And we're just going to reuse the same screws that we used that came out. Get a couple of these started. Hold it in place. So now the screws holding the bolster are back in place and attached to the repair plate. And as you can see now, this thing is not, no more problems of the plastic can folding up. We've got nice structure and support for that bolster now. So the last step is just to reinstall the seat cushion. So those screw holes that the seat cushion attaches to have clearance here. On some of the older models, the seat holes, the attachment holes, they put screws through in this location. If your seat has a variation that's not covered by these, we can certainly accommodate you, or you can just simply drill additional holes in this plate to accommodate where your screws holes are. So now we'll... Okay, so the new hardware, the new screws were used with the old washers, so that, and those new screws that are included in the kit are longer to account for the new repair plate thickness that has to be accommodated for where the cushion is. So those are holding the seat cushion back in place, and then the last step would be to simply reinstall the Gorelick seat frame. Now when you put this back in, it will sit on top of the stainless discs that make up our plugs. That's okay, it will sit just about 1/8 of an inch higher up, no problem there. Use the same bolts to fasten that back in place, and then your seat repair is complete, and you can put the... Okay, so now with the repair plate installed, we no longer have a problem with the bolster being able to bend down or break or pull up. All this mechanism is nice and solid now, and the cushion is resecured, and you can use your new repaired seat just like you did before. From the aesthetic side, the cushions cover the majority of the area, so you barely notice that there's even a repair plate down there, if that's something that you're concerned about. I suppose, sorry for my horrible filming, but if you look down in the front, you can see that the plate's there, and that's how much it's spacing the seat and bolster up. So, if you have a problem with your Cobalt bolster seat from the 2005 up to today that has the handle and the map pocket in the back, the bolster seat repair kit available at sidewheelracing.com is your way that you can do this repair all by yourself and get your seat back in action, save yourself a bunch of money over a new one or sending it out to get fixed. Hope this helps.